I'll tell you a little story. So I had an intern years ago who came in going through law school. Now he's number 3 in the company. And he came to me and he said, "You were so nice to me and you taught me so much." And I'm like, "Yeah, I did." And it's kind of like what comes around goes around, right? And so him and he, by the way, is in charge of the athletes matchmaking. So we work together all the time, and he's just this wonderful guy. And when he said that, I said, "Well, why would I treat you any different?" He said, "I was a intern." I said, "I don't care. You were out, you were trying. You were doing the best you could. And you were contributing to the department, right? And for free. So why wouldn't I treat you well?" And just a reminder, you're dealing with people all the time. And that guy that may not be somebody today like him years ago may end up being somebody you want to do business with. And so it's easy for me to be nice to people. It is. It's just easy for me. It's second nature. So I try to be as nice as I can to people until they piss me off. And then I just don't deal with them.
Yeah.
It's simple. If you're a manager and you're me, I'll have one of my guys talk to you. And I'll tell him that. I mean, I'm not going to avoid him. I'm going to say, "I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm going to have him talk to you because I can't trust you." The good news is we have about 12 guys that manage almost all the athletes. It's not hundreds. We have some dads. Dads are tough because it's their son, and I get it, right? I completely get it. But the management level has gone up a lot in MMA. It used to be the bro guy that wrestled him. He's his manager now. I was Chuck's manager for a while. And he said, "Will you be my manager?" And all it meant is I was going to do a bunch of for free. So I after about 3 months, I figured that out, and I said, "I don't want to be your manager anymore, unless you want to pay me." But him and I have been friends for so long; he's never paid me anything for that. So it was my pleasure. I love watching him succeed.
Yeah, I try to encourage them to think that if you want to have. You'd be very limited in what you can do by yourself, As an entrepreneur, getting much of anything done at a big level in life, it's very hard to do everything yourself. So you're going to need, a team of people and maybe a broader circle team and a broader circle team of people around you that you can get done with. And if those people don't trust you, if you don't keep your word, they're not going to keep their word.
Right.
And if you're not on time and don't do the things that you obligated yourself to do, then nobody else is going to show up on time and do the thing. And then you just got a big mess. So to me, I think it's very important that if I say I'm going to do something, then I got to do the thing.
Rules are really important.
If somebody tells me they're going to do something, I expect them to do that. And if they don't do that, I don't hate them. I don't think they're a piece of shit. I don't think they're the worst human. I think, they're just a human.
Right.
But the thing is, I don't have to spend my time with normal humans because I don't behave like a normal human, and I don't want to spend my time with the normal humans. I want to spend my time with the best humans.
Right.
So I got to make sure that I make myself useful to those people, that I'm mindful about what are the things that are important to them that maybe I could help them with. All the fighters ask me about financial things. I don't touch anybody's money.
I know that.
I don't get a penny.
That is one of the reasons I trust you, by the way.
I don't get a penny. I don't ask them to give me something later.
And I knew that before I asked you out for lunch, I already knew that about you because I talked to the fighters. Because if they had said to me, "Oh, he's investing our money," I'd have went, because I've seen that go bad a lot. So when I heard that from the fighters that you've never asked them for anything, then that meant a lot to me.
And you'd be in the same position that they tell me so many private things. I don't spread that gossip.
Never.
I don't share their private information.
Ever.
I know about everybody's net worth. I know about everybody's financial situation. I know about their family problems. I know more than I want to know.
Yep.
I became a counselor over time.
Oh yeah, I'm a counselor too. I know.
But I don't gossip about that. I don't repeat anything. People tell me things they really shouldn't tell me sometimes, and I don't do anything that I shouldn't do with that information.
Yeah.
Because more important to me is the long-term relationships or long-term friendships that there's more value in that in two ways. In my own personal integrity, that I don't want to live my life like some piece of shit or
Right. Me either.
And secondly, I want to have a very pristine reputation that that people know if I say I'm going to do something, that's going to happen. If they don't know me too well, but they go ask 5 other people that know me, all 5 of those people are going to say, no, he's good.
In my business, I have to do that. I have to check people out. There's a lot of people that come into our world at UFC. Some have good intentions, some don't. I'll tell you, you guys really have a head start, I think, because I've been here a few times, and you're here to learn about business. You're here to learn about how to conduct business, which gives you a real advantage over most of the people I meet at work, okay? Not necessarily working there, but that do business with us. But there's so much, I love my job, and the reason I love it is because everybody trusts me, and it's a really good place to work. But there is so much that you don't know, and I'm 68, so I got a lot of experience. And the only way I learned it was from other people. I didn't think of any of this myself. I learned it either through people teaching me or pain, because I did it wrong, right? I've lost a lot of big deals because I f***ed up and didn't do it right. So I want to congratulate you guys for being here, because it takes a unique person to understand that there's a lot out there, but there's still a long way to go. You're never done. I go into work, I learn stuff every day. Like I learned buying the car last week that I still f***ed up, right?
You're still bummed about this, huh?
I'm obsessed with it. In fact, I didn't even enjoy driving the car. I was pissed off at it. Paid too much for it. Actually, the thing about when I'm doing business, I really keep my eyes open as far as how I'm doing it and what I'm doing, and am I successful or not successful. If I'm not successful, I just try to figure out why. Like, what happened? Why is this guy not doing what we want him to do? And it's helped me a lot grow, from an appliance salesman to senior VP of UFC. It's quite a jump. I completely transitioned my career when the real estate market crashed. Company I was working for almost went under. I went to Dana Lorenzo, talked to them. They hired me full time. And so I've had 2 completely separate careers, both successful. And I could retire right now, but I'm not gonna, because I love my job. I love working with the people I work with, and I love working with the athletes. And I love working for the company. Dana White is an incredible person. I can go on and on about that. What you see is what you get. It hasn't always been beautiful, the relationship. I think he called me one time, and I answered, and he said, "What the f*** were you thinking?" And I thought, I think a lot about a lot of stuff. So I had to have him point out it was that I had hired Nate Diaz to do something, and didn't I know he wasn't going to show up? So, but I'll tell you what, I've watched this thing grow. I think we're valued at 12 billion, 13 billion now. They bought it for $2 million in 2001. And the reason I, have such high regard for Dana is I don't believe there's anybody else in the world that could have done it. And you know what? He outworks all of us.
I told them a story earlier with my first speaker today. It came up about him. Several times, Dana, we're not close at all. He knows who I am, but
Right.
We're not friends. He doesn't really know me at all. I don't really know him. I just know it's Dana White, But he'll make a point when he sees me. He'll go out of the way to come talk to me for 90 seconds, 2 minutes, and have a little chit chat. And the last time I had a little chit chat with him was maybe 5 or 6 times that we've talked to each other in person. He's sitting with right in the front of the fights. And he looks over, and he kind of looked again, and he gets out, he leaves, and I was in the front row, and he comes over and says, hey, and he took a minute to take a picture with a couple other people and went back. But I don't need a picture, I'm just happy to see. But I thought that was very thoughtful that,
That's how he is, yeah.
No, he doesn't know me,
I know, but he's grateful for everybody that, he recognizes people that come a lot, like he recognizes that. And we look at you like your customer. You're a customer. You're a good customer of ours. And
I'm a good brand ambassador for you guys.
Yeah, I know. Well, that too. Yeah,
but I appreciate that. I thought.
And you're also the other level to that is that you help the fighters, which helps me. It just does.
I thought that was very thoughtful of him. And all the time, even when you and I first met each other, you always come over and poke your head over and a little chit chat for a couple of minutes. I'm like, oh, that's really thoughtful. Like, when he's in the building, oftentimes he's the top guy in the building. If Dana's not there, even at the big stadium events, sometimes you're the top decision maker there. Or you have plenty of things to manage at that time. Plenty of people want your attention and various things to deal with.
Right.
And I always think it's very thoughtful. You'd make the time to come say hello and chat for a minute, all the time.
It's super important to me to do that. It's not making time. It's something I want to do.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And
go
it's important to
unnoticed.
me that I do that. So.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you. Maybe just a couple of the final negotiation thoughts. I think we talked about relationships a bit. And a couple of negotiation thoughts is like, there's some negotiations where you need to be focused on a dollar amount. It's a one-time thing. You're not going to overpay for something. You don't need it, but you want it, and you're gonna have to get it for a price that's a good deal, or just not a deal that's going to get done. It doesn't make sense to do that deal, And that's very different than a negotiation where you're going to see that person, you're going to deal with that person in the future. I might do a first deal that's not great for me.
So
if I don't,
100%.
If I'm going to see the person in the future and we
That's
have
right.
an ongoing relationship, I might do something that's very favorable to them and not so great for me because I'm thinking about the bigger picture in a particular circumstance. And you just be aware that not every negotiation is the same thing. And Reed touched on this a couple times, but the best loophole with a negotiation is when somebody is so fixated on price. A lot of people is money is the most important thing to them. And if it's a halfway reasonable price, be willing to pay what they asked you for. Be willing to give them that and say, hey, if I gave you exactly what you asked for, would you mind just doing this one or two extra things? Sometimes it's so much more valuable. Just as a template example, if you're negotiating a thing where a guy asks you $50,000 to do something, and you're like, I'd rather pay him 40. I think he'd take 42, 44. You're like, let me ask you, if I gave you the 50,000, would you mind in your head, maybe there's a couple other things that you value as an extra 10,000. If I gave you the 50,000 exactly how you asked me for, exactly what you asked me for, would you mind doing these couple extra things and include that in that price? So now maybe we're going to get, instead of getting the deal for 42,000, you got an extra 20,000 in goodies instead of an $8,000 discount. Would you rather have 20,000 in goodies or an $8,000 discount? Yeah, things like that happen all the time. I do this all the time with people when they're fixated on price, and I know money is important to them. My brain immediately starts shifting and be like, all right, what else? Where are the other potential things that?
And look, and long term.
Yeah,
my brain goes to long term. What can I do with this guy long term? I'll get the 8,000 back. If I can do business with this guy.
Sometimes I can't think of the 20,000 in goodies, and I'll do exactly what you just said.
Of course.
All right, I'm buying 8,000
And
in
I asked
future
him, I said,
goodwill.
well, if I do this, will you do business with me in the future? Will you give me a shot at it? Will you come to it? And if they say yes, that's worth something to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's very important. So think about that. I think it's the best, loophole, or it's not a trick, it's not a loophole, but something to be aware of in negotiation. There's so much value to be created with that one little thing. And, some things it's just a transactional relationship, and that's what it is. And that's the nature of some relationships. If it's not a good deal, you're just not going to do the deal. And you're going to be better off to not do the deal. But, when there's a potential, when there's a future value add that can be created, don't underestimate that, because you just can't do everything that you need to do by yourself. You're going to need to do things with other people, and it's really good to have a good reputation and good relationships with other people that they're happy to take your phone call. I don't want to say the guy's name. I'll say it to you privately later, and you'll laugh. But one of the fighters that always poke at me, he's like, Derek, you're too nice. You overpay. He's mostly talking about construction. He's like, you overpay people so much.
Yeah, probably know who it is, but yeah.
You pay them too much. You let people take advantage of you, Derek. Derek, these guys are always taking advantage of you. And I just laugh, and I would tell him that, you know what, when I pick up my phone and I call people or text people, everybody returns my phone call.
Right.
Everybody returns my phone call. Everybody texts me back, usually pretty soon. And I said, am I the stupid one? Am I the one that, like, did I pay too much, or did I just want to be like? I don't think anybody should return my phone call if I'm not doing something useful for them or making their life easier.
Right.
So it's my goal to make sure that I'm adding enough value to somebody's life, that I'm helping them in some way, that, when they hear from me, they're happy to talk to me. So later on, this guy has a construction project of his own. Nobody will show up. Nobody will show up.
I think I know who it is, but we'll talk later, but yeah.
The contractor will show up. He says he'll be there for an hour. He'll measure a few things, and he'll be gone for 10 days. Nothing happens. You can't get anybody to show up.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, I wonder why that is. And then I just laugh at him about it, and he's mad about it.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I wonder why that is. I said, they all show up for me. My contractors show up. Whoever I call or text, they get back to me quick. No problem.
And there's value in that, right?
I don't think that sort of behavior, if you expect people to do for you, you probably need to be their best option.
Right. Right.
You need to be a good option in their life. Ideally, you'd like to be the best option in their life. I don't think I'm overpaying in those circumstances. I think that frees up my mental bandwidth, that I'm like, okay, that's taken care of, that's taken care of, that's taken care of. Everything's going to run smooth. And now I can go make some money in the stock market.
Yeah.
Now I can go do something with my business. Now I can go do something fun with my girl. So I don't think I'm overpaying for that. I'm paying for, I don't know, like continuity and peace, that I don't have 15 extra problems to fix every day of my life.
So rarely do people look at that. I also have the same attitude. I'll pay a little bit more, especially if it's going to make the deal work better, And I always look at the long term with somebody. Like, this manager may get me today, but you know what? I got 5 more deals to do this month with them. It'll even out, right? And you let them know that. You say, hey, this time I'm giving it to you. Next time I want it back. And they'll go, okay. And 99% of the time they'll do it. And that's how you make deals. The other thing is, I've had a couple times where I have an impasse, a true impasse. You bring somebody else in. Step out. See if they can do it. Say, I can't make the deal, but I want you to talk to so-and-so. He can make the deal. And it also lets him know that he's probably off a bit. Right? Because I can't even make that deal. Even though I probably could, but yeah. but there's a lot of ways to do these deals, and sometimes handing it off to an associate, because my guys are good. One of my guys is really good. I can hand off to him, and the deal will get done properly, and I know it will. A couple guys, they're not there yet, You
watch this video all the way through, and that tells me you're dedicated to learning more and earning far above average outcomes in your life. Congratulations for that. But now it's time to take action. If you could have earned those results by yourself, you would have done it already. My head coach has opened up a few spots on his high-demand calendar for an in-person, one-on-one strategy session to help you. On this call, we'll give you the pragmatic advice that you can implement tonight to get laser-focused on the right metrics and leave mediocrity far behind in your past. Click that link right now in the description below and apply for your call immediately. Do it now.